This is going to be a talk, a discussion, a kind of brainstorming, as Yatin Bhai said, that we will kind of mull over things which are important for us and the city. And so thank you, Ajay, Yan, Rajesh, uh, Pratik, and Rajiv for having come over from different places of India to this IDEC presentation. And thank you, IDEC, for this one. So let's understand the topic first of all. I mean, if I want to break it down into different parts of the topic, let's say better designed spaces. So, I mean, are we doing good or can we do better? That is the first question that comes to my mind. And can we make our mark on what we do? So the better part is the question. I mean, are we doing better spaces for the city or can we do better? Um and the smart city word, and again, I think Yadin bhai mentioned that. What is a smart city? I mean, definition of smart cities, if you go by the government aspects or otherwise, is more connected to the uh, technology and the efficiency in which the public services are held. Um Architects have a little role to play there. But what I would like to stress upon is, I mean, for example, a 15-minute city, and I think a lot of cities are working towards it. Paris and Barcelona and certain cities, they are trying to go into a 15-minute city. I mean, efficiency of where do you come from, where do you go to, uh, do you don't spend much time on transportation, and you save on your own time and fuel and every other aspect. So, what all can all of us combinedly uh, get on board is the question. So the point I'm trying to make is that there are multiple layers to this whole question. Uh, and as designers, how can we make and contribute to making the cities better designed? So that brings me to my first question, and this is to all of you. What, according to you, are the inspiring examples of better designs around the world and in India also? And I'd like to start with you, Ajay.
Thank you, Mr. Vatsal. I just, before we talk about what's better design in context of India or abroad, I want to echo two things which were discussed today. One is Sameer Bhai and Yatin Bhai both said, first of all, the word smart, I think, is misused. We are all the dumbest people sitting here. I truly believe that. Because, see, there's 32-degree temperature outside. You're wearing 3 layers of clothing. I'm wearing 3 layers of clothing. Everybody is, and sitting in 21 degrees Celsius inside. Fundamentally, we are all messed up, right? So I think we should use smartness with courage and real context of it. So I think that's what I think Sameer Bhai was saying. We are consumerism. So we are consuming clothes and we're not thinking smart at a base level. Forget architecture level, infrastructure level, technology level. I think so. We need to fix that at human level first.
Okay, if you before you go there, I'd like to introduce Ajay in a manner that he's probably the Gaur Gopal Das of architects.
No, 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 sir.
Yeah. So somebody who's kind of gone there, been there, and kind of move on to something else. So
yeah, I've been an architect, sold an architecture firm, doing something else.
exactly.
So
That's what I meant actually.
so I think I'm in a different space a little bit than typical architectural system. Can you hear me, sir? And I think I want to echo Yatin Bhai's concept. I think good design or good building has nothing to do with except if you set the parameters right. What are the fundamental parameters you are basing your design of a city or a space or a room for a toilet, whatever. So I think I really love what he said, and I think I don't need to be here because he said what I wanted to say anyhow. Is why I'm going to give an example. Anybody from Delhi here or Noida? Anybody knows Noida a little bit? There's a small market in Noida in sector 29. It's called Brahmaputra, I think so, if I'm not mistaken. It's a small market. So the architect designed a very small market, L shape, on the corner because that's what's the setback, everything. And that's 10% of what the retail is. In the shop, the shopkeeper draws rental from hawkers in front of him, and there are 4 layers of hawkers in front of him. What, not 1 layer, 4 layers of hawkers in front of him. If you go to the market, it's a high density of F&B, I'll call it, at any evening, which means it's fundamentally, he showed me a finger as an architect, right? He says, I'll tell you what to do. Why are you telling me what to do? So I think we should learn from the real people who live in the space to design the space better for them, rather than trying to enforce what I think, especially learning from the Western culture, saying, I will apply that because they did it, we will do it. I think we lack that context, that it's for a purpose, and purpose is human. I'm sorry, I'm pointing at you again and again. Purpose is human, and if we have lost that idea, we are enforcing ideologies of design and infrastructure to a lot of people without understanding the people. So I think that is smart. If you can do something for the people and you understand those people very well.
Thank you, Ajay. And do you have some visuals?
No, I have one visual. So if you can you?
Yeah.
So this is nothing to do with me. This is Chandigarh. It's a cliche. Everybody talks about it, but I put it there because this is a smart city long time ago. So we don't need smartness because of technology. It is somebody thought, somebody applied, and the governance of the city follows. I think last word is more important also. It's been followed. We control that space still, so it can be managed. Otherwise, you can do a great design, and we are quite capable of spoiling it ourselves with a sprawl in front of it all the time, right? So I just put it for the sake of it. It's maybe a little overdone, overdusted, but I thought it's worth discussing. Chandigarh is a smart city, not today, way back. So I think infrastructure plays a real role in smartness of a city, but at a very human level, very how you consume the city, rather than internet, Wi-Fi connection, smartness there, app-based, all that will follow. But this is the ethos of a smart city. That's my
Thank
2
you.
cents for the image.
Okay, Jehan, you are into, more interiors, as you mentioned.
More into the interiors.
More into the interiors. And what is your take on this question, that what are the inspiring examples that you have personally kind of encountered in India or around?
So, at the onset, let me first apologize to everybody. I seem to have lost my voice along the way. Blame it to Mumbai pollution beating Ahmedabad. So it's there. So if I croak and screech through all this, please feel free to laugh at me as you wish. But coming back to the smart city. So for me, a smart city is not just about the whole infrastructure and everything. It's also about the smart people that live there. So it's smart mobility, smart living. So it's whatever the government can give us from the smart government that we have, but we have to incorporate that. So the smarter the people, the smarter that we can live with that. That's also part of smart life. So for me, one of the smarter cities, and I've been there, is actually Copenhagen. I think, can we flip the slide?
Can somebody put up the slide, please?
Yeah, thank
Is
you.
that one? Yeah.
So Copenhagen is one of the most, well, for me, it is a smart city because of the way that they've treated everything. This particular slide is from all these group of these slides is from a park that's called Supercline there, and there's a very ethnically diverse area or a population city in the city, where all the people, which are about 60 different communities or 60 different diverse populations, have come together to live there. So bringing different mixed race or mixed use, out of the place, I think that's very nice. In an area that could have been discarded, not been looked at, they brought that very smartly into human living. So how it's reacted to people, how it's reacted to this place. And of course, the people living there have become more economically viable for the city itself. So I think that adding to the infrastructure, adding to economy of the city, that makes that whole place very smart for me. So they've got, things that they've brought from different areas. They've written gate posts, benches, etc. But more importantly, they also have a smartphone app. So the people there are connected via that smartphone, whether it's your iPhone, whether it's on your Android. And the app is what technology is driven through this park. So that's where the smart city kind of combines and makes it all. So I think I can't.
Yeah, you just relax. Yeah. Okay. So Rajesh, and I think he's the one who's kind of really working on the city level amongst all of us here. And I think Rajesh, I would like to understand your perspective on this.
So I'll go one by one. First was smart. So my definition of smart is I think the day we moved from a village to a larger settlement, that's that settlement was a smart settlement or a smart city. The day we started barter, we did not even have currency. But the day human beings started interacting with each other and moved from hunting and gathering and started a bit more of interaction in form of a coin, in form of a trade, that was smart. What we look at now is whether it's information technology or everybody's talking about chat GPT now. We will talk about smarter cities. All these are just technologies which will be in a few years behind us. But we as human beings will always remain human beings. There's something very peculiar and very inherent about all human beings. So I think what we need to focus on is humans first. I mean, again, on our panel, everybody is going to be talking about Yatin sir, Yatin bhai, like he's called here. So he put it very, very aptly that, human beings should be at the center of it. Even in 1960s, Jane Jacob and William White talked about cities which should be about people. Unfortunately, our cities are becoming about automobiles. Now we're talking about this app, that app, smart mobility, and metro, Digiyatra, and so on. All this is going to be something which will be behind us very soon. Technology is really moving fast. But what is not moving is human beings. So I think we all need to cater to the human aspect first. Number two, about work, play, live in 15 minutes. I don't think it's going to happen. The way our cities are growing, we are turning into urban, it's like a conurbation. It's a continuous urban sprawl. Everywhere, I mean, last 20, 30 years, I've traveled extensively throughout the country, whether it's Bangalore or Hyderabad, Pune, Ahmedabad. Cities are just growing from one town to the next town and so on. So we need some sort of a global or a national think tank to figure out, what is going to happen to our country, because either we do something like a hyper urbanization, where today we're talking about FARs of 4. Maybe, we look at a higher FAR and vertical cities and vertical greens, because, we're going to run out of spaces in our cities. So, or we do the Hong Kong or Singapore approach that, you do very hyper urbanization and then you leave pockets so that at least you have some nature left. Next point. About something Ajay also mentioned about is that, we need policies which are policy making, which is taking all stakeholders together. Right now, we follow, in fact, a lot of examples that we are going to show here are from the West, whether it's some urban project or some public project in the West. We need to have, India being a very, very complex country, we need to have a street hawker, we need to have, a kid, a old person, and everybody as a stakeholder in the design process. Unfortunately, we do not have that. So we are trying to do this in something called local area planning. It's something all urban design schools are trying to do, but that is, I think, one way forward to look at it. And of course, I talked about the challenges. The challenges are huge, but I think, the only way out is by, having such meetings, but taking them to another level, maybe having longer workshops. I think Niti Aayog is also, thinking of these lines that, setting up of new think tanks where such debates can be taken up and some solutions are going to be worked out.
Okay, Rajesh. Do you have any visuals to share about this?
No, I think,
Okay.
like I said,
Okay,
I mean,
so,
these are very cliched images which
Okay, okay.
all of us are going to share.
But
But
I can talk about a visual because you've been part of the committee involved in Central Vista, I guess.
that's right. Yeah.
And then the renovated Central Vista with an ice cream hawker, as you mentioned, on that visual. I think that visual has come about So, what is your take according to you, being also in the urban planning aspect, that we cannot move them out of it, right? We want a nice central vista, but we still have that hawkers, ice cream wala standing there. So, how are we going to kind of connect those dots in that sense that we want a Copenhagen also, and we want an Indian street or a Noida bazaar also?
So I think the priority, like I said, people first. So we need to make our spaces, public spaces, very inclusive. And of course, you can't have hawkers everywhere, so you need some order in chaos as well. But yes, it is about making spaces accessible and inclusive.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rajiv, same question.
It's working.
Yeah,
Okay, good. Um, so for me, the word is not smart. The word is evolution. Um, every city evolves. I've been part of little 10 years. Better now? Okay. 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 So I have lived abroad. I have lived. I'm Mumbai born. I have spent every vacation in Ahmedabad. Um, so I think I've seen quite a spectrum of things in life. One of the problem in this country is evolution versus organic growth of a city. The problem is we need smart people at the city council level where city planning actually happens. There is no interaction between architects, designers, engineers ahead of time. We are always playing the catch-up game. To give you an example of Mumbai, Mumbai in the Britishers era had very landmark locations. You go to Nana Chowk, you go to Flora Fountain, you go to Bandra. You would always enjoy the open skies, a lot of lush greenery during monsoons. Go to the central side of Mumbai, and you would have a Matunga or a King Circle. Then suddenly the boom of infrastructure. We have so many cars coming every day into the city. How do we make roads? To play up the catch-up game, they started making these elevated roads, which basically covered all these gardens, the greenery. They came up with some skywalks where they thought people would climb a 60-year, 70-year-old people with arthritis problems, and they'll climb these three-story skylines and go and then again climb down to the station. All of those we've seen in the last 14 years come up and fail at the same time. There are very few places where we are able to actually recapture history, recapture the old architecture. Our dear gentleman mentioned about Ahmedabad, I remember the bungalow culture in Ahmedabad where you would come in, like enjoy the Indian summer. You would walk through burning heat in the afternoon, but with lush green bougainvilleas around every bungalow fence, with the geru rang done on all the bungalow walls. Where is that? Where did the architecture aspect of this country fail so badly? If it can survive in Chandigarh, look at Chandigarh's population growth. Look at Ahmedabad's population growth. Almost the same. Why are we in a hurry as architects to copy what the Western world offers? Where are the missing balconies? In fact, if you come to Mumbai, you come to the so-called new Upper Worli area with all these 80-story buildings with no place to hang clothes. I mean, it's a shame. You come to Ahmedabad, and I remember when the first boom of happened in Ahmedabad, there was this really nice, really lovely old school of thought architects who would actually incorporate a chokdi, a washing area, space for the servants to sleep, and then a balcony, because they had the luxury of space. Somewhere, I think we as architects, designers, engineers, fail to come together as a community, and we fail to inform the government about it in the right manner. They are playing the catch-up game always. I mean, the Mumbai Coastal Road is a good example. They could have done this many years back to decongest the city. They could have done underground trains many years back. I mean, as far as I remember, Calcutta had its first train in 1980s, late 80s maybe. Why wasn't the other cities catching up to it? Ahmedabad's ring road and then the buses going through the center, I don't think that's the most effective way of public transport. You know, so I think there needs to be a lot of thinking about it on how you make use of the space, how you develop a city. As far as I remember, Ahmedabad's always had a makeshift downtown. Today it's the CJ Road, then it's the Ring Road, then it's the Rajpath Club area, then it's something else. The property development keeps going further and further outskirts of the municipal corporation, which is ridiculous in many ways. But I think coming back to design, my design background's not urban design. I'm just talking as a very layman who's observed all these cities. I do mostly interiors, and even in that, when you come to Mumbai and you see these houses which range from 4,000 square feet to somewhere near 25,000 square feet residence, with one of my client came up to me and said, why are you putting so many lights in my house? This house was 10,000 square feet, and I was using LED lights, small spotlights. And the municipal corporation has a rule now, they count your electricity load based on the number of light fittings. So he complained about it, and he said, how can you do this as an architect? You are supposed to save energy, you're supposed to save electricity. And I turned around and said, sir, have you looked at your AC consumption for 2 people, literally 3 people living in this house for a 10,000 square feet home and an 1,100 square feet living room? And he turned around and he said, no, I don't. I said, sir, I can't help you then. But we are those are very micro level things. But on a macro level, look at the cities abroad. I mean, I have New York. What Mr. Dongre's slide shows here is a recaptured train station. I mean, the train track in New York. If cities like New York can do it, who struggle with this, have the same struggles as any other urban cities, why can't we do it? And where do we fail as people to do that? Why can't we have proper sidewalks? I remember British era sidewalks in Mumbai with heavy stone pavers. Nothing ever happened to it. Since the day they've removed, I don't remember walking on a sidewalk ever. I, as a person, always walk on the road. Hence, the person who's driving the car is always behind me honking or annoyed by me. So that's the problem. We are not addressing people's concern, and then comes the discipline aspect. So I think at a very, very macro level, there has to be a smart connection between architects, engineers, city planners, sit down together, consult each other, and then work out a map. It may take me 6 months more, but I may come up with the right thing rather than making something wrong and breaking again. And obviously, people's discipline, I have seen the same people traveling abroad, not throwing a single piece of garbage on the road or spitting, but when they're in India, they think it's absolutely okay to do that. So I think that's a shame on us, not anybody else, and I think everybody knows that. So, but I think it's really important to connect at a macro level and find these solutions and retain what we have. You go to a place like New Mexico in Santa Fe, New Mexico in US. Even McDonald's has an Adobe finish on their structure. Doesn't matter. The whole city is in the same finish. We can do that. Ahmedabad can be Ahmedabad, Mumbai can be Mumbai. That's
Rajiv,
all.
I'm coming to that in the next question, but I think we'll move on to Pratik. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Vatsal. My analysis of smart spaces might not be as specific as all the architects, but just with all discussions, what we have with regular interactions with the architects community and what all we understand was, for me, a smart city would be three points. It should be simple, it should be safe, and it should be sustainable. Simple in terms of, like, we try to overdo a lot of things. We are trying to complicate designing. We are trying to make complex structures, complex designs, and ideally it should be as simple as possible, as functional as possible. Safe in terms, as Mr. Rajiv mentioned, like it's safe only for four-wheelers, only for vehicles. Rest of the people who are on their walks or on their cycles, it is completely unsafe for them to go out on roads. So we should consider all the usages for all the designs what we develop in future. And sustainable means we are completely sacrificing our ecological balance, our trees, our forests for the sake of development, and there is no balance in this regard. So we should try to focus back on forest, greenery, and plantations, and all these aspects. That's from my side.
Thank you, thank you. So this were the visuals that probably everybody kind of gathered for examples of good designed spaces in the city across the world, including India. I see something from Bombay also. So now my second question, and I think we are kind of running out of time also, is please be brief about it. As architects, as designers, even urban designer or an interior designer or architects, how much do we have to do, have a say, to control or to change in the spaces that we are talking about at urban level, in the city level? And I think I'll start with Rajiv first. Yeah.
See, I think on one, as an individual or as a smaller entity, I think there's very limited scope for us. Because as architects, you always work within a confined boundary. But here, the moment we're talking about urban design or a city, you are dealing with a multiple stakeholder situation. So you have to have your local MLA, you have to have the municipality, the street vendors, and a whole lot of people involved in that process. So there are only small gestures that you can do as an architect. You can make your building open towards the street, not have a boundary wall. I mean, that's something, which has become a huge problem in our cities, that everything is becoming gated. Everywhere you have boundary walls. Look at the traditional cities. There were hardly any walls. I mean, there were walls around the city gates, but within the city there were no gates. But now everything is becoming like a gated compound.
True.
So I think that's something at an individual level you can start looking at. You can always look at, if you're as an architect, if you have a site which is in an interesting part of the city, at least make it open up and interact with that part of the city.
True.
So I think that's, as an architect, one can do.
Okay. Jehan, you are comfortable speaking? Yeah.
Yeah, try. So I think also that from a micro level, so I think it's very important to start from within our homes. So if we encourage a smarter set of living, a smarter way of thinking within our homes itself, it's going to proclaim outside, it's going to come outside. So for me, I think if you teach them how to live properly, I don't think we are teachers at that level, but we can incorporate certain elements which could incorporate better living. So it's sustainability, sort of eco-friendly elements, everything that can be done, which could make a home smarter, and not just doing automation or not just making things, a little bit, but making things more open, a little more ventilation, environmentally friendly. That can take the smartness out. So when we're building up, so brick by brick, we could build it up together.
True. Ajay?
Is this okay? Yeah, I think as architects, we have learned how to draw plan as in a master plan of a city or a neighborhood or maybe just a development, right? I think, and it's still a very, very siloed fundamentals, right? I mean, we are much more complex as Indians than, say, this yellow means residential and this orange means commercial. I think the challenge, if we can solve, is that every space we see and don't see in a plan, hopefully no plan, and I'm again echoing Yatin Bhai's idea, we are every time mixed use within a building. We are a constant mixed use. We are not mixed use by blocks. We are mixed use within a building. A building has a guy who irons your clothes. A building has a retail shop which gives you milk and bread and eggs and retail. There may be so many layers, right? I mean, take an example of senior living. In Western context, senior living, okay, all these old people who are 65 plus go live there and have fun. In Indian context, doesn't work. Senior living, I'm sorry using that example, is, a person who's 70-year-old wants to see a younger person to live better. That's the reality, like it or not. You may give them medical facility, but he wants to see a younger person around him to live better. So the idea is the mixed use concept of anything we do needs to come to a micro level. We are actually very, very macro level designers. And if we can do that, actually we'll break this ethos of how things work. I think that will be the key to do that.
All right, Ajay. I think that also kind of, I'm seeing the time is out, but we'll take one more last round of question. And Pratik, you want to echo on that?
Just a quick share of the industry perspective on this subject. Like the way when architect can influence requirement of the smart cities and not just on the prices, then we can certainly make better places on the country.
Okay, so last one quick round of question in terms of the technology and the word smart itself. I mean, I asked all these questions to Chat GPT, and I have the answers. Almost what you're saying. Yeah, really. I mean, I had done this. So, I mean, I'm trying to understand how is AI going to influence our future, and that is one last round I want to understand from all of you, because as architects, that human value, that understanding the history, the context, everything is carried with us. And if we are going to rely upon more technology, how is it going to change? And is the technology going to take over us in maybe 10 years down the line? Ajay?
I think nobody can mess with humans except humans. So I think we will screw ourselves up. Nobody else will screw us. No AI, no chat GPT can screw us. We will mess with us ourselves. So I believe garbage in, garbage out. So AI still is based on parameters given by us. Maybe different, smarter us, but still the parameters are given by us. It may help certain scenarios, but it also will flatten the culture of the whole globe, which is kind of stupid, I think. So it needs to, every microclimate has its own culture and needs. AI cannot understand that right now. I think we're far away. And we are very good at messing with our own selves. Nobody can help us there.
Okay, okay. So we still have a future, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Rajesh, Rajiv, Jehan.
So yeah, I think it's just another technology. You know, if you remember when there was no Google, there were no smartphones. We were still, we were. In fact, there were. I remember when I started my practice in Delhi, we did not even have mobile phones, and even getting a landline was difficult. So we used to pay a bribe and then get a landline, and then have every office used to have one guy only to listen to calls. And wherever we were in, whichever part of the city we were in, we would call back office every 2-3 hours and find out kiska phone aaya tha, kiska phone aaya tha, then make a list and then call those people back. So I think it's, like Ajay said, it's just going to be, we'll be far ahead, or rather the technology will become human.
No, but if you have seen this viral picture or a famous picture where a cameraman is kind of hanging by a helicopter and taking a drone shot of maybe a F1 or something, and now drones have replaced them. So both of them, the helicopter pilot has lost his job, the cameraman has lost his job, and the drones are taking over. So I was trying to go into that zone where probably things will change for a different path. I don't know, maybe.
No, for sure. It is going to be a game changer, and such things have happened in the past and it will happen in the future. I mean, I'm sure someday a driverless car will also come, and it will also come to India. Because, we need it more than the West.
Of course.
Because, the kind of road accidents we have and the kind of complexity we have. So we will adapt to technology far better. But, we'll definitely, we will still go to movie theaters, watch Pathan and dance.
Good for us. Good for us.
So, yeah, we are not going to change. I mean,
Yeah,
so,
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think that AI can ever replace us. So it's not a question of replacement, but I think it's more of collaboration. So any kind of AI will always give us research tools, give us some data. It's here to revolutionize most of the industries. But for us, the human touch that will come from design, the empathy, the creativity that architects or designers can offer, I don't think AI can ever do that. So they can maybe augment our work and augment our design process, but can never replace us.
All right.
So we are here to stay.
Thank you for assuring that. Yeah, Rajiv, you want to add, and Pratik, last thoughts?
No, I think they're just tools. We used to hand draft, then we started using AutoCAD, and now we do presentations virtually. You can wear the Google thing, and I can show you a 3D of your house before even before it's completed. So I think that's great. I think it's just great way. Technology is a great way to communicate easily with people or otherwise doing calculations. Just a quicker and more efficient way of using it. But ultimately, it's the brain that's going to remain the superpower no matter what.
All right, that's assuring, yeah.
From my side, AI, there should be right balance between automation and AI. We should not allow AI to be more intelligent than humans, and we should allow our full control as human beings on everything that is happening around us. That's it.
All right. So on that note, I think we'll wrap this up. And to conclude this, uh, when what we started off as designing better spaces for smart cities, I think each one of the word I think was that as I had broken it up in the initial kind of introduction. We, of course, as a panel, understand this, and I think we come across as uh, Indian context, human touch, uh, better assistance from the technology, and all of this, if we are trying to, and of course, as architects only, we cannot take a call on behalf of the government or the stakeholders. So there are certain limitations that are there with the fraternity. But if in long term, if we see this, we see a positive approach and taking cues from places around the world and even in India, like Chandigarh, there is a lot of scope and lot of potential that we must be working on to get this correct and to kind of correct it to the Indian context. That is, I think, the biggest challenge or the biggest kind of possibility that we might go to. Yeah. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, IDEC, for having hosted this. And thank you, all the panelists here, Ajay, Jehan, Rajiv, Rajesh, and Pratik. Thank you so much.